All right, everybody, what's going on? I'm Mike Lowe. It's been a long time since we've done a stream, and with the long weekend and the crazy weather that we have here in SoCal, I figured this is a good time. Super hot outside, so what better time to play one of the best sports games I've played in a number of years, and it's certainly in the list of best sports games that I've played perhaps ever. So huge shout out to the development team with Metalhead who put this game together. Of course, EA Sports has acquired this game, so we're a little bit nervous to what's going to happen with Super Mega Baseball 4, which sounds like is being released sometime in 2023, I think the spring. But nonetheless, we have just an amazing game, an amazing base to build upon that hopefully that's exactly what we see with SMB 4. And the early rumors are that it is pretty hands-off. They are letting the Metalhead team go about developing the game that they want to develop. So that's really, really good news. I hope to see Metalhead do some other games like football, hockey, that kind of thing. Would be really, really cool. So this game is just awesome. This is not going to be a full-on tutorial. This game's been out for a little while here, but it's one of the games that came with the free EA Play. And I've just been kind of dabbling with this as I just can't really get into Madden, didn't really get into MLB The Show this year at all, didn't buy it, didn't buy Madden. Just looking to, even though this game, on the surface really comes across as like, well, geez, this game's not realistic, but I can tell you, it's more realistic than some of the kind of quote-unquote sim console games that we've had the last few years. Plays amazing, and they're not trying to be something they're not. Like even their off-season, their franchise modes, and then that kind of thing, just really, really cool. So what we're doing is actually going to be playing a custom league. I've already set up the league that I want to use. And the way that I did that, in case it helps you, is I have gone through and created essentially a fictional league here, of course. Everything in this game is fictional, and you can make it more realistic if you want. But I have gone through and it's kind of fictionalized, and this game does a pretty good job of generating, when you create a league, it'll generate custom teams and logos and all of that stuff. And these teams are pre-created, but there are a bunch of them. There's probably, 50 or so teams. And I've created a 24-team league here, but I have kind of filtered it out a little bit by picking some of the teams that I thought looked the best, whether it's their logo or their name or their jersey and that kind of thing. And then just really let it populate a kind of fictional, I just went with Western and Eastern conferences, nothing created just yet, North divisions, South divisions of each conference. And again, pretty straightforward. The reason I went with 24 teams is there are only 14 stadiums in the league. And so it's kind of like the New York Jets, New York Giants sharing a stadium, or the Rams and Chargers in football. Figured each conference could use one of those 14 stadiums. And so just kind of doing some searches around Reddit, saw that as a cool setup that I think is really, really cool. And so again, I was able to do that just by creating a league, and I can kind of show you how that looks. But it goes through and walks you through the different setups we did. This is what I'm doing in this particular setup. And then when you go through and just do this, again, it's going to grab those same teams because I only loaded 24 custom teams before this stream. And so it's going to be in a different order here and that kind of thing. And then what I just did is went through and manually and just made sure the stadiums kind of lined up because my custom teams that I loaded all kind of have the same ballpark there. So we're going to back out of there, but that's how I created this. I can actually just delete this Continental League here. Let me do that before I forget. The menus are pretty straightforward. It sometimes can be a little bit weird. I'm going to delete this Continental League. That's the one we just did. This is, of course, the real original Super Mega League. If you just do like a standard, it has teams like the Platypi and stuff just kind of loaded in, which are just awesome teams. Super, super fun. But this one's completely customizable. And that's exactly what we did, and we are going to be playing as the Metal Skins. I've already gone through and kind of selected the team that I think is going to work best here. And the way I've set it up, I don't know if I can actually load back in and see this. Yeah, it's just going to show me that setup. But I have it set up as 16 game schedules, so very similar to the NFL. Just we have less divisions, but more teams in the divisions. So 16 game schedules, and they're 9-inning games. And what else here? 1-game playoff. So it's basically like an old school NFL schedule, the 16-game schedule, 1 round of playoffs. And I kind of like that because you can actually sit one of your 4 starters in the playoffs because you'll probably only play, up to 3 games really. And but you're still having to use your entire rotation throughout the playoffs, right? And so I think that's kind of cool. 16 games gives each of your 4 starters, which is all you need in this game, 4 starts each, and so on. So just kind of made a lot of sense. But where we're at this point is I've just started, and I'm really just going through now and looking at the team for the first time. So I'm seeing this for the first time along with you, looking at this particular team. And right now we're just ranked in order here of their overall. And right off the bat, we have some pretty good players here. We have Reeve Chops. Just looks like a killer bat, respectable defense there at first base. Let's see if we can see his second. He doesn't have a secondary position. We do have a DH throughout this league. But for now, it's probably easier if I actually just do it over here. So Chops, our first baseman here, you can see on his player card there in the middle, no secondary position. But this guy is going to definitely want to be in the middle of our lineup. So right now we'll just kind of move him down to fourth. And we'll just go through each of these players here and kind of meet the team. This is one of my favorite parts of this game, is just the uniqueness of the player generator. And when you create these fictional teams, it'll just load in fake players every time unless you use a standard franchise. So just super, super cool. And actually we need to use this lineup because we don't have a non-DH lineup. So let's move Chops down to cleanup. Chops, what a name. Dudley was our next best overall player at A-. Again, another really good bat, pretty decent defense at second base, can also play short, but not a great arm. And he's a switch hitter, so just kind of makes sense maybe to put him there, just batting in front of Ruben Dudley for now. Let's see here, we got some guys in the B range, B pluses, so it looks like that's probably on our bench here, all B's and C's. Okay. So we're kind of down to the B plus guys now, and that's fine. So let's meet Twist Herman. So he's another second baseman. They have been playing a secondary position third. I don't know. This guy looks to me more like a DH kind of guy. So I think right now I'm going to assign him that DH spot for now. And he bats left along with Reese Chop. So I'd like to kind of separate those guys a little bit. And yeah, this is a pretty good spot. He might strike out a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm good with our DH bat in second there. Good old Twist Herman. Jaden Fisher is next, another first baseman who can also play third. He's got a decent arm, so that might be where we need to put him. I'm not sure. I like having a good defender at third base, but this might just be where it needs to be. And it's actually a pretty good spot for him, batting fifth, so that's going to work out. Woolmate. Not a great defender. He can play anywhere in the outfield, but he's going to be penalized even more playing left field. But let's leave him there for now. He's another power bat who could come in and kind of just do that lefty-righty split. So he's actually in a pretty good spot too. Aiden Woolmate. Decent speed, which I like to have in the 6 hole. So he's good. My only question on him is, do we want him in center or left? We'll come back to that. We got some more B plus guys down here. A catcher. Just kind of solid all-around righty bat, so he could probably go up and bat next here. I like that catcher arm. Holy cow, he's got one of the best catcher arms I've seen. So Musty Sosa, that's a good spot for him. And then we have Albright, who is another center fielder. He is certainly a better defender, a bit of a utility player here. Not a great bat. Bats left, so he'll actually just slot in right there, and I think I will keep him in center field. Woolmate will have a nice arm. We can kind of hide him out in left field a little bit, but not my favorite situation there. And then I think we're down to our B range players. So we have Dean Heaves, who's got just an incredible head of hair, and he is just a right fielder. That is all this guy can do, which is, I guess, lucky in a way, because that's kind of what we need. He is a lefty bat, and so I'm actually going to move him up next to Woolmate just to compare the two here. Because I'm looking to see, he's got more speed, this guy's definitely got more power. I actually kind of want Heaves batting 6th. And I would probably do something like that. No, Woolmate might come out. I might just use him as a pinch hitter. I just don't love his defense, and batting 8th I don't really need. I'd rather have a good defender down there. So we'll see. We might slot him out here. We have a nice, really nice lefty-righty. So lefty switch, lefty right, left right. left. I like that so far. Again, Woolmate possibly coming out. I think there's one more guy to look at here, and it's Shipwright, our shortstop. Decent shortstop. Do we want him batting cleanup? And who else would be a candidate? Not really. I just want a guy who gets on base. I don't care about speed at all. He's probably our best bet still. And he's a righty, so again, that's pretty good. I think the only thing I'm looking for off the bench is, gosh, Aiden Woolmate. I hate to have a B+ on your bench, but I just don't love his defense. But then again, if he bats last, I guess that's not the worst thing. Let's see what else we got, though. So we have a right fielder who can play other outfield spots, but he's just an awful defender, so I don't see him starting. Another third baseman, which we could look at, who is a pretty good hitter. Madeline Garrett. Here's the left fielder, but not a really big upgrade. Switch hitter. And a backup catcher is nothing more than that. Geez, I don't know. Maybe we leave Woolmate in. I'm actually curious to look at our third baseman comparison here. Fisher's definitely the better bat. Oh my gosh, yeah, they're both bad defenders, so we're sticking with Fisher. Gosh, I guess we're just gonna stay with I think this is our lineup right here. I don't love our bench, but I mean, let's see what we got here. Decent bat, but not a good defender, so on the bench he is. We saw Garrett already, good bat. We have some good bats on the bench. Definitely not good defenders, though. This catcher is basically useless. Seeing if anyone else has like a catcher secondary position. Don't think so, because that would be really useful to cut Kara Bush here. She is not very good, but I guess there in case of an emergency. So yeah, I like our lineup. Lefty-righty split all the way down basically until the end. Yeah, pretty good there. And then let's see, we can look at our pitchers over here. We have Stephanie Cummings, starter. One of the really important things in this game, if you're new to this game, is really you want your starters to at least have 4 pitches, because otherwise, oh boy, it's really hard. The AI is really smart at kind of picking up your pitching patterns. You can get away with a reliever with 3 pitches, sometimes even 2. You'll have a closer or something that's 2. But it's nice to have 5. At the same time, you want the pitcher to actually be good too, right? So it's kind of a balance. But we have 2 really good starting pitchers here who are just starting pitchers. They can't do anything else. We're looking over here again, really good ratings, velocity, junk, accuracy. We got a lefty and a righty. Stephanie Cummings, pretty old, 35. But she'll certainly be around for at least this first season, which will be nice. And Layla Stevens, we got 2 girls here, our top 2 pitchers. And again, good. Definitely not as good as Cummings, but pretty good nonetheless. By the end of the season, could actually even be better because she's younger and will develop a little quicker. So really nice 1-2 punch. That'll be really nice if this is a potential playoff team. That brings us down to our third starting pitcher, who another girl, Noelle Walsh, drops down to a B. So a pretty significant drop off. He's still pretty solid. 5 pitch repertoire, which is nice. And no real weaknesses or anything. So lefty, righty, lefty here, but 2 of our 3 starters are pretty old. But again, gets us through this first season. And then our 4th starter here, just 3 pitches, so I'm a little worried about that. Jerry Parsons. By the way, check out the power on Layla Stevens. And this is for batting. Too bad I don't think you can even use these guys as pinch hitters. But I got a couple here who can really hit. That's pretty cool. So let's see. 3 of our 4 starters are lefties. So that'll be interesting to think about as we build out the bullpen. But Parsons, not bad. I'm not going to probably strike a ton of people out. So when he pitches, we'll want to make sure that we got a really good defense behind us. And then we don't really have a long reliever per se. We have in the bullpen 3 righties and a lefty. No one technically as a closer, but I guess we could kind of do a, what's up, Dave County? We could do a kind of a closer by committee, that sort of situation. No one's terribly old or anything. B plus. I mean, he's going to be our kind of our go-to guy with 70 junk. We got 2 righty pitchers here with 70 plus junk, which is really good for getting out of jams. So is velocity. So I mean, Vance will definitely be our kind of really go-to guy here. And then we got kind of our lefty righty. And then I don't know, like if I had to designate a closer, it would be one of these two, because this is my best reliever. I don't like to actually use my best reliever as a closer. I want them when it's tight. Closers come in, there's no one on base. It's not a high pressure other than the 9th inning or something like that, but I want my best reliever when there's a jam. And that's going to be Quinn Vance. And so I want to keep my other lefty for situational. I think being righty heavy is pretty smart with 3 lefty starters. So I'm okay just having the 1 lefty in the pen here, July Bird. So again, I'm really just looking to see who I think is going to make a better closer here. And I actually think it's going to be Monty Grouse will be our closer. So odd that they didn't kind of generate him as a closer, but we'll just kind of leave it as is. So I'm pretty good with how they had the pitching rotation set up. It's pretty straightforward. The way this game works, it's really, really, really cool. It's really simple, and I think that's what's cool about it is that there's the off season works this way too. It's basically you cut someone and you pick someone up. You just kind of flip flop. So it's almost like your fantasy baseball team or fantasy football team. The off season works a little bit differently in that the prices will drop each week, and this happens in the regular season too. Like right now, this guy wants $25.4 million. That's a ton. Each week he goes unsigned, he will lower his price. But of course, there's a risk because each game. There's a risk because another team might sign him away. So it's kind of deciding when you want to kind of walk out of the casino, so to speak. When do you want to cash those chips in? Also not overspending at the same time. And so, I'm pretty good with this team as is. I wouldn't mind maybe another righty bat. Maybe somebody with like really high defense and good contact who's a righty. So like, I won't Levi Martin, but not at $25 million. I don't want to spend that much. You can see the top left, my budget information, and you don't want to do, you don't want to overspend on your budget, because whatever you have left over applies to, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. It applies to your actual development budget, right? So the more surplus I have there, right? There's my budget, there's my payroll. The more surplus I have, you can see at the bottom there, sort of, it says new player development funds per game, 287. That's not terrible. It's not great. If I were to increase that surplus, I get more development funds, and development funds go into things like this, where you can go in and there's just different little quirks, and as you play more, these will show up and they'll eventually expire and things like this. But you can go in and kind of bulk up some of your players. And so I'm not looking to add salary. So if I were to what am I doing here? If I were to click on Levi Martin, he's going to, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner here, it's showing the kind of differences in price. I'd be adding $23 million to this guy. But what I am looking for, because this pulls up my team roster, are just anybody who's on the bench who maybe is making too much money. Woolmate, I can't remember if he is the actual center fielder or if it's Lenny Albright. It's Lenny Albright. So, Woolmate is a guy, he's the guy that I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'd almost rather find a better left fielder. A lot of power, and some good speed, but just not sure. And again, Lenny Albright isn't like the world's greatest defender, but I don't know. I mean, right now they're both starting, they're both lefty. So anyway, that's the spot I'm looking at. I'm just checking their salary, because if I can find a replacement that maybe fits the team better and saves us some money, then awesome. That's kind of what I'm looking to do. I don't think any of our bench players are like terribly overpriced. He's a starter. And then now we're below $5 million. So yeah, not too bad. So what I was saying, again, if I can find a good fielder, maybe with some good contact, because I don't really have a leadoff hitter that I love. Again, Levi Martin would fit that, but that's way too much money. 11 million, but he bats left and it's a catcher. Bats left, so yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. I already have 68 fielder out there, so it's not a huge upgrade. Levi Martin is an awesome player, but we don't need a second baseman. So I'm actually okay with that. Backup catcher was another spot. Because your catchers will get tired. Is there a cheap catcher? I just want to see, what does our backup catcher make? See, only 2.1, so I'd rather just keep that person cheap and just suffer through the games that they have to play. There's no cheaper catcher, so yeah, I'm okay with that. And one last thing I want to look at with the team here, because you'll learn very, very quickly that defense matters in this game. So I'm looking for like we could use a defensive third baseman, right? We talked about that earlier. Again, left field is a spot. Everyone else is like okay, but like a corner outfielder or a third baseman, and I don't think we have. Yeah, there's really nobody here who's any good. Sellers isn't like a terrible outfielder, but yeah, also not very good. So yeah, corner outfield or third base. So we could kind of sort by fielding again and just see if anyone on the cheap kind of fits that. So we can skip these first three. They're too expensive. I mean, this is a really good center fielder. And he's a righty bat. So like Marco Carrillo could be a good fit for us. Just a speedy guy, put at the bottom of the lineup, let him run everything down. I actually like him. I'm going to start him. So he is intriguing to me. I'm skipping all these guys with like double digits or like 9, even 7 million is probably a little too high. But there's not a lot out here. There's nothing for really. I mean, even if I looked into the 60s here, I think there's just this one player other than Heaps at the top. But Heaps makes too much money. Andrew, they just make too much money to be a defensive sub. So yeah, that's not really going to work. And so that brings us back to looking just for the corner outfield, I guess. Let's see. Too much money, too much money, too much money, too much money. Yeah, Marco Carrillo is really the only player I'm interested in, but I'm just looking at that dollar sign. So we'd save money if you replaced Dean Heaves. We just have three lefty bats who are all kind of just like average, but a little pricey. So I do want to replace one of these players. Just not sure which one. These guys are about the same. This guy's much younger. It would be a really nice pinch hit bat with that power. Do some damage for sure. But it's an expensive bench bat. It would be their biggest savings. But I think our best bet right now is just to do nothing. He will lower his price too, and so I can't imagine there's like an enormous need or anything like that. So let's just see. There's only one closing pitcher, and it's a lefty. And he's pretty bad. So yeah, we're going to just stick with our folks here. I definitely don't want to spend a ton of money. I don't really think we have too many holes. So just looking at age, sometimes you can get younger players on the cheap who need time to develop. These are some nice starters. We're going to need some starters for next year, but again, you need a roster spot. You don't have a AAA team to stash some of these guys, and they're not really cheap or anything either. So let's look at age for position players. There's some good players out here, but 22-year-old B player could play left field for us. That's kind of nice, but also a lefty bat and expensive. Yeah, all these players, everyone's just a little pricey. We'll keep an eye on Marco Carrillo and come back to that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the team setup. I wanted to keep this video kind of straightforward. I know there were some questions coming in about the Madden app, but I'm not really looking to do that on this stream. You can check out the thread on Operation Support if you have questions on that. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, this was just a really quick intro. I will be playing some games, I mean, very, very soon, potentially even tonight. But I wanted just to keep this video real short and just straightforward and kind of show you the beauty of this game, which I will continue to talk about as I play this. In this 2018 schedule, or 2018 season, 16 game schedule, 9 inning games. And we'll be talking a lot more about it and following the metal skins as they trudge through this first season, and we'll talk about again, just the beauty and the simplicity and how those come together in this game. But I'm Mike Lowe, everyone. I appreciate you checking out the stream, and I will talk to you all next time.